Well, hi, everybody, and welcome back to the Ascension Playground. This is Ursi. And boy, is the energy on the planet just, doesn't it feel like it's just, we're going to another octave, is what it feels like. It's like the drums are going and we've just shifted into another level. So, what do I mean by that? One, I believe on planet Earth, we are starting to track more and more the lunation cycles, full moon, new moon, super moon, blue moon, etc. Plus, I also believe that we're collectively looking at, what is Mercury retrograde or the personal planets in retrograde mean to me personally and then to my community at large. Just feels like our awareness of the galactic and how we are all interconnected seems to me, from my lens, like it's starting to build. So, today, in response to one of our subscribers here on the Ascension Playground, a request to understand more. And this more is a topic around mm, experiences that were not pleasant, experiences of entities coming and scaring the bleep out of her. So, today I'm here to hold space for this idea of if that should happen to you, or if it has happened to you, how do you hold space in this new quantum energetic? Some of it for me has been looking at the galactic heritage to see that the trauma drama didn't just begin and end on Earth. This is not just about us with our past lifetimes on planet Earth, but it does have a broader cosmic, let's say, Shakespearean drama to it. So when the dark comes forward, how do we hold space for that? So I had to go back and I wanted to just tune in within myself and my own knowingness that that hermetic principle just kept coming forward. This idea of equal and opposites attracting. So, where there is the greatest light, the equal and opposite greatest dark magnetizes itself. So, let's say if I'm in kindergarten, let's just use that as an example of the mundane world. A kindergartner, finding another kindergartner almost like magnets. Okay, that's a particular level. But as we graduate and move into, let's say, high school or college, our awareness has expanded. And so as our expansion happens, I believe that the equal and opposite will magnetize towards us. It's just one of those, even like this idea of here I am as a being, and the light hits me. And so the larger I am, the more mass I have, the bigger the shadow. The longer the shadow, even the taller I am. So, this idea of equal and opposite attracting, how to hold space. The next image, of course, that comes forward in my mind is this idea of the yin yang, the balance of light and dark, that it really isn't a game of expansion and evolution if it's all light or if it's all dark, right? This idea that we need in find a way to how to have a balance within the game to find that center point. And if you've taken a look at some of my little chats on the tarot, you'll find that Lisa Royal Holt actually calls it not just, holding an axis of opposites, but this idea that an apex is formed, creating a divine triangle. All right. So if we hold this idea that I've had this experience, I'm scared batless with what happened, what was that? And then, an equal and opposite has got to be formed as well. So if it was that crazy experience, what is the antidote on the other side so that you can move through that and up into the apex so you too can move into that higher octave of awareness? I don't believe that these experiences happen to just anyone by chance. I do believe there's a calling out and saying, okay, you're going to be elevated to a PhD level, let's say, in the experience in 3D to remind yourself of exactly who you are and why you've come back in this now moment. Let's just say on the timeline of 2023. This is not to dismiss or to bifurcate, spiritual bypass. It's not that at all. But it's to understand, is there a role for the light with the dark and the dark with the light? Some of the other esoteric readings I've come upon talk about this word creative chaos. So, from the thing that we fear the most, and believe me, there are things in the dark that I am just like, okay, is it time for that lesson or not? Okay. So I'm not saying I've learned all this. I'm just trying to respond to what one of our subscribers has invited me into this conversation of light and dark. And what was that experience? I'm going to do a little mini reading for Cinder Ella. I'll just call you Cinder Ella. Um, to see where that may go as far as your galactic soul connections. But before I do, I want to share that the bigger cosmic lesson for me by you inviting me into trying to understand and sort through what was that is this immediate intuitive response that I have. And that is, do you want to change the channel? All right. If you sit within your own sovereign self, your core identity, you connected to your higher self, you connected to source light and all that is, our free will, being the human being, the divine essence of all that is, of Creator God, being that fractal of God, the seed of God, whether you want to say sons and daughters of God, doesn't matter. If we are a fractal of all that is, we have that divine choice point of free will to say, turn the channel on or off, or change the channel. All right. By free will, even when you look at your galactic soul connections and cosmic journeying, sure, you may have taken on 30 or more squares, which points to karmic lessons in this one lifetime. By free will, you can say, okay, I took on too much. Let's renegotiate. I'm going to focus on these 5. And when those are done, I'm going to decide whether or not I want to take on any more. This is the beautiful, potent, um, I don't know, the on off switch of free will. Yes, no, or pause and let me decide how I want to move forward in this current moment. Okay. Do you see how it's not about bypass? Like it's all love and light, la, 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 like I see nothing, I hear nothing, I say nothing. We are here to each of us expand and evolve. So when those types of scary situations happened, whether we call it abduction or encounter, whatever you want to call it, let's hold space for that. That is a huge PhD level experience that, let's say, you chose. And if you want to keep making sense of it, sure. But if you're doing it from a place of complete and utter fear, find a guide, like you have done, Cinderella, call out, like, help me sort this through. You do have that option, in playing the game of, oh, okay, I'm going to get out of this experience and I'll put a pause and put it in a bucket, or I'm going to reframe it. Okay. Help me, guides, understand it from 1,000-foot perspective, maybe even 2,000-foot perspective, if it's that hard to see. But you have to ask yourself too, why is it important for me to understand what happened? Do I want to keep re-traumatizing myself? Even in the 3D timeline, there are many of us who've had traumatic experiences, let's say in our childhood, or later. What gold was there? Do I really need to keep, picking the wound? Already with the Chiron return, Saturn returns, we will already be saying, have you done the work? How has it been? Are you ready to take the next step? But I do believe there is grace. There is grace. So if this has happened to you, you do have choice points. I don't mean to offend anyone, but this is what's come loud and clear for me. And that is you have the choice to change the channel. In fact, you have a choice to turn it off completely. I know many people who, in their younger days, had psychic experiences. They asked their guides, turn it off, not ready for this. Thank you. And their request was honored. You could actually say, I want no more of this. Thank you. But I'm saying it from a place of empowerment. I'm saying it from a place of authority and command. I will it. I command it. Very different than the victim of, oh my God, look at that just happened. Oh my God, what am I going to do? So I'm saying that from a place of love, because again, in my history, there are places where those experiences, yes, they're there. And if I choose to bring it back and repattern it or reprogram my experience of it, that is my free will choice. So I'm going to be back in a little bit with a free little mini review for Cinderella, just to see, is there something in the chart that can help you? Okay, I'm back. So, there is a joy that I have in the permission that you give me to do a free mini reading. The permission that says, yes, you can open my galactic soul records. This is something where the delight of an exchange, an offering of, like, let's see what we find when we open up the records. And it's 2023. This powerful blue supermoon has just occurred. We won't see it for many more years, but I'm going to use this energy of awareness of the reflective light, reflective light, to see what there is in these particular records. But before I do, there is this idea of coming on the same page that Cinderella, yes, yes, there are these pre-agreements that I believe we create and challenge ourselves with before incarnating. Okay. And so perhaps you chose something that was just a little too much. You can renegotiate that. But that beautiful free will of being human is huge. So when we just look at your three primary key ingredients from an astrological Western astrology approach, you have a sun in Gemini, mutable air that's masculine and is a personal nature, right? So Gemini, the twins, the two, I like to say the doppelganger, the one that you learn through the exchange by talking it through, it's air, these ideas. You've invited me to come and say, what was that about? Help me understand it. So this idea of finding another, it's huge for anyone with a sun in Gemini. Your core identity or the personality is one where, yes, I want to learn, I want to figure it out. But remember, even at school, we have guidelines on the playground, guidelines in the classroom, and you always have the call to say, I don't feel well, I need a pass to go home and rest. Okay, so that's your sun in Gemini, air, mutable air. And then you chose in this lifetime for a Cancer moon. This is a beautiful, nurturing, the great mother moon. Okay, cardinal water. So you've got air and water together for your identity and your own emotional nature. Now, air likes fire and water likes earth. So already I'm seeing the light that you shine within and the emotional intelligence that you carry within. There is a little bit of an oppositional energy that you've already created by saying, I want this experience. Cardinal water, the receptive feminine. The moon is at home in Cancer. Again, it's personal. So together, your sun and moon combined, two personal levels of knowing yourself, wanting to know. All right. But then you chose to come in with an ascendant in Pisces, the most transpersonal of all the 12 zodiacal houses. It is going around the 12 houses and ending up at the very end with all of those transpersonal experiences. So we see you, dear one, we see you as holding that mutable water, the deep water, the ocean of all that is, holding the feminine with transpersonal. There is this desire we see in you to want to help all, to understand it in the most spiritual of all houses. Okay, so two personal houses and a transpersonal. All right. So the lessons of the more you understand who you are, your identity, your emotional intelligence, your moon in Cancer, this most loving emotional sense that you have, you know, but to come out into the world as Pisces. Your chart then with the Pisces rising is the beautiful dance with Neptune. Neptune, god of the ocean, god of the seas, with a trident in his hand. So, this is just a short little mini reading that moves us from the astrology now into looking at the astroseek. How does that material play out in the wheel? Okay, so the zodiacal wheel. Well, we would say in Jungian archetypal energies that the communicator of Gemini is strong, working with your gift of the Cancer moon, the nurturer, that then dreams, we see you as the dreamer. So, oh, dreamer, one who holds the dream, the vision for the collective. What will you communicate to us in a beautiful, loving mother, caring nature? You see how that's so opposite for what the heck just happened? I'm full of fear. We're saying you came in with this gorgeous suit of the communicator, nurturer, and a dreamer. Okay. So what's coming through now is this idea that, of course, you're going to have some of these really strange experiences with that rising sign, 5 degrees of Pisces. Okay. And also strong with your sun's light. You placed your sun in the house of Gemini, right? So it's a Gemini sun, but it's landing in the third house, Gemini's house. So you have an uber strong Gemini who's ruled by Mercury, right? And so you've got Mercury sitting in that third house, yes, in the sign of Taurus, but you have this great ability for communication, and here's Venus sitting next to your sun, merging her beautiful energy. So look at your chart. I put a little line to show you where your moon is here, this beautiful Cancerian moon in the fifth house of creative self-expression. But the ascendant, look at that ascendant. It's like all the activity is happening. A lot of it is below, the horizon in the second and third house. Yes, we have some work up at that midheaven with Neptune sitting up there at your midheaven in Sagittarius. How powerfully beautiful. Remember, I said that Neptune is the ruler of your chart. So, what is it when you come out into the world with the trident? In fact, what they're sharing with me now is yes, take a picture of the trident of Neptune, have that glyph, which is the symbol for Neptune, around you to remind you this is who's really here to help you when things get a little bit mysterious, scary. You've gone into really deep, dark water and you've just seen the boogeyman, let's say. Neptune is there to help you, to bring this light out into the world. Yes, I know it's at the midheaven and in the ninth house, theoretically, but look at that beautiful agreement to come and bring this forward. Then I created the next slide to show you if you go on astroseek.com or astro-seek.com, you're going to start seeing who some of these beautiful fixed stars are to help you. So look at the top. There's the word SARIN. That abbreviated name for a star is not in the calculator for Julia Balaz and the galactic astro chart yet, right? She's got some stars, but there's no way you can have all the stars all at once. At your ascendant, we see the word Deneb. Is that Deneb al-DJ, or um, there's a couple of denebs. It means the tail. So I'm going to leave you with that cliffhanger. There is a star helping guide you as your Pisces rising. And here down below, we see next to your sun other stars. Look how many fixed stars are helping your third house where your sun's light is sitting. All right. So let me go to the next. Here is galacticastrochart.com. This is the free calculator that Julia Balaz and Hector have created. So you're going to see a few more stars on my chart than you would if you went on the public calculator. As a practitioner, we have access to more of the stars, making it much easier to really not have to do the mathematics. But look at all of this. This is the star seed connections that you have come in with, dear one. You know, Cinder Ella, from the ashes you rise, right? Look at this, Taurus, Scorpius, so much galactic is working within your soul connections. Again, we're just doing a really light, free mini reading. But right away, when we look at your sun in Gemini, holding the 10 degrees, 53 minutes in the third house of Gemini, right? Powerful Gemini sun, but needing the two. And so I started this little share by saying the light and the dark, there's the two forming that apex point. Okay. So, how do you hold the light and the dark with the apex? Well, if you decide to take the Quantum Soul Guidance Practitioners course, I have a 10% off coupon that's still available. When we see the soul connections with Antares and Aldebaran, two remarkably strong lights in the heavens, these are royal stars. Together, they're a marker for a wisdom teacher. My goodness, right? And Gemini loves to communicate. Gemini loves to write books, right? What form of communication do you choose? I'm not sure, where you are on your path, but you definitely have a conjunction to the royal star Aldebaran and in opposition to Antares. This is working with your Gemini sun. So what I'm hoping that you'll do is step into this light. So when the dark comes and like messes with you and says, boo, that you have Archangel Michael, who is working with Aldebaran, and you have Archangel Uriel, who's got the long distance view of the future, working with Antares. You have that in you. And look at this rainbow starseed connections that you also carry. Just going to say, I took a look to see where's your origin star family from. And there was so many more soul connections. You've been so many places. No wonder why so many of these experiences might be coming to you. So it's not until we look at your Neptune line in the ninth house, we see the great attractor. But even that didn't sit well with me. That's more like a portal for me when I saw your chart, like a stargate between universes. Instead, I went back and I saw, using the AstroSeek, that your Pluto has beautiful star connections, these conjunctions to Diadem, Vindima. I can't even say the whole word, Vindimiatrix. It's the grape gatherer, and there's a third star as well. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing. I know this went a little bit long, but I got to tell you, there was really something that opened up in me to say and remind myself as I'm looking at the tarot that the cosmic game at play is, will you stand in your authority and your sovereignty as the channel changer, as the one who can even turn it off and just say, okay, let me hold space for that which is and that which I want to breathe in and focus on and create. There's so much in our current 3D world of distraction. I get pulled in as well. I binge on Netflix, but then I come back and I go, okay, what was all that about? It's easier to watch a story or a Netflix, little mini series where the drama is someone else playing it out. But when it happens in real life to me or to you, how do we make sense of it? Do we get traumatized and go, ah? Or do we say, okay, let me just re-ground myself? There is something else that your star family wants me to share, and let me just tune into what they want to say. Wisdom teacher, you set yourself up for this beautiful Pisces rising. You have support. I think this is the now moment where it's not about the data. It's not about who was that. In fact, what they're telling me is it's a combination of your future and your past selves. These entities that you identify with as Sigma Draconis. Okay, whatever it is or was reptilian, we can really scare ourselves. I'm just going to say that in the era of Draco, for its transcended self, that engagement that has called out to you, that keeps showing up in your third dimensional world, wants to co-create with you for the greater good. But it's going into this transpersonal place that doesn't look very natural to you or to me or to us. Energy shifts its form, right? When we get off the third and fourth dimension. So I challenge you with this idea that if these entities come in and you haven't gotten a clear idea of who or what that is, play this game of, oh, there I am. I am. That is part of me, whether it's my past life or future life or parallel life. It doesn't matter. When you get off the fourth dimension, it's quantum. So, whoever and whatever it is, I embrace it as part of the greater I am. That is me. I don't even need to understand it, but if you're here for good, if you're here to help support the conscious evolution of all living beings, then let's play. Let's create together. But if you are other than that, I command you to go back to the origin of your being. And I'm going to just call in Michael, Uriel, and bring forward only that which is at this moment available for the highest level of wisdom teaching. Okay, everybody. Boy, that got a little bit deep, but I am allowing myself to say this is the true unfiltered Ursula coming forward. Ursi is here playing, and yet Ursula too. And the crone Ursula is here as well. So I'm calling in my inner child, my teenager, my adult, and my crone, all of me to come and help play together on the Ascension Playground. Thank you, and hope we'll see you next time on the playground. Take care, everybody. And I hope this helps give light to you, Cinder Ella. Bye for now.